Welcome back to the 5 Spot. I'm your host, Donovan McNabb, joined with Armando Segura. We have a Hall of Famer in the middle. We keep him in the middle so I can still scramble outside of him, but it hasn't been really positive
This looks about
over the years.
where two people on the outside of me. This is about where I'd be at in the NFL.
And he still finds a way to get to the quarterback. We're joined with Warren Sapp here. Warren, let's dive into it. Let's give Chris Jones a little bit of love. What do you see from Chris, and is it time for him to get that big bag?
Oh, it's definitely time for him to get the bag. I mean, they just did a one-year deal. And the thing about it is, when that young man wants to go, there's nothing that's going to stop him. I mean, we watched what he did. In the play that he made against the Bills with Josh Allen when he made him fumble, I text him, I say, son, that's a gold jacket play right there. That'll start etching you in people's memories in the postseason as that guy. As a guy that would make big-time plays in big-time games. And there's nothing like the postseason. You know that.
Yeah. So let's dive into it, because when we talked about Chris, we tried to put him in a class. I put you in a class. Obviously, you and John Randall were more
that's
guys.
A little guy. That's a motor.
You see, that's
a
what I
little
said.
Motor guy.
Who would you put in his class?
Calais Campbell.
No, I'm talking about more of the guys with the yellow jacket. I like Calais.
I like Calais too, but
yeah.
Shit, you're talking about old guys like, Claude. Claude Humphreys that, did the forklift, and, them old guys, them monsters, and that's what I put in.
Like Mean Joe Green?
No. Joe Green got short arms. I call him the greatest dinosaur that ever lived, the greatest T-Rex to ever live. That's my guy. I love him to death, but he got some short arms.
Boy, he mean, too.
Oh, no, he ain't.
Boy, he mean.
No, he's nice.
Boy, he mean. I love Joe. I love Joe White.
It's up on Sunday.
Joe White helped me out.
No, mama's best.
Yo, woo.
Joe's wife, Mel Blunt's wife, they the best. No doubt about it. But when I put him in that class, Calais Campbell has 100 sacks, so let's not talk about
No.
Calais.
I like Calais. Calais, my man.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The big pass rusher, that big inside guy, Keith Millard.
Okay.
Like that. Big 6'5" guy.
Yeah.
But Chris still doesn't got that wiggle like Keith did.
Okay.
Keith would hit you with that high booty back inside, club. I ain't seen that from Chris. But when he wants to go, he's going to go and just.
What about Eric Swan?
Yeah. More like that. I saw him this morning coming in. The big
look
fella.
good, ain't he?
Ooh,
look good.
He always look good.
Oh, man.
Oh, big old monster.
Yeah.
Jesus. Some people just space eaters, even when, big guys like us, players, you just look at them like, my God. And Willie Rofe is over there, too.
So I'm walking around Allegiant the other day, and there's a picture of you in the breezeway of Allegiant Stadium, and it was kind of jarring because I think of you as a Buck. So tell me what.
There's a phrase when you went into that building. What did it say? Once a Raider, always a Raider.
Yeah. Okay. So compare those two experiences, because most people think of you as a Buck.
9 years, 7 straight Pro Bowls, a Defensive Player of the Year in a World Championship, and your name on the wall will do that.
Absolutely.
But you can't take away my 4 years as a Raider.
Nope.
You can't take away my 10-sack season as a 34-year-old as a Raider with the number 3 defense as a Raider.
Absolutely.
I don't think Tampa did that after I left. I don't think they put up them kind of.
You know what? It's funny you bring that up because, talking to Rondé, talking to John.
That's my guy.
Haven't really got a chance to ask DB. Just your thoughts on how Tampa has kind of not so much highlighted what you guys have done for that organization in those years of you guys all being together. I've had the privilege of playing you guys multiple times and seeing all of us on each level in the regular season, obviously in the playoffs.
Opening night,
NFC
everything.
Championship,
Opening night, the whole 9 yards. We just did it all.
Yeah. But do you want the Bucs to do more for what you guys have done? Come on, let's put it out on the table.
No. Well, what happened? How did we get to this conversation?
Well, no, we just.
Who started this conversation? Because you say you talked to Lynch and Rondé?
No, I haven't. I talked to Rondé.
Okay, yeah.
Rondé, I think. He's almost like the stepchild, just like.
It's kind of tough when you in the annals of the game.
But now he's got the jacket.
In the annals of the game, you talk about triplets, the Dallas triplets, those triplets,
right.
The three amigos, and they normally comes in threes, and
right.
It was me, Brooks, and Lynch.
Right.
And now Ron, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's a politician. He'll break it down. He'll break it down for us. Because you can't ask me, because the only thing I ask for is a couple tickets here and there. They provide them, so I love them. And they give me a credential to walk around my building, and I don't get no trouble except the lady that won't let me in the drink area. But I think she got me now after about 3 years. I think
she understand a little bit.
I think we good now.
She understand.
I think we good. That lady rough, boy. I'm telling you, boy. Every time I come there, she hit me with the "oh."
Oh.
I'm like, same guy. Hello. Good morning. Oh. Yeah. Every time, dog. Every time. At least she's consistent, so I love it.
Cool.
You get anywhere you want in South Florida because of your time at the University of Miami and otherwise. And University of Miami, I have to hold the flag here sometimes because my Syracuse buddy over here doesn't know.
No, you got to hold the flag because we're playing shit football. I'm sorry.
That's the question.
And UM?
Yes, we're playing.
Will there be
trash? Trash. They won't tell me about recruiting classes and this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. 7-7, 6-7, 7-7, 500 coaches everywhere I look. I played for a 63-9 Dennis Erickson. In the 3 national championship game, back-to-back national championship game, we are excited about a pinstripe bowl game in New York. In Yankee Stadium.
We didn't play it in the Pinstripe Bowl about 2 or 3 times.
You wasn't excited about that.
Absolutely not.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely not.
See, the standard ain't dropped.
Exactly.
We just allowing a lot of
mediocrity.
I love that. Got the old girl up there.
Yeah.
She had a heartbeat.
Yeah, man.
She had a heartbeat.
Is there any chance you see in the future that it could get back? Or is that gone forever?
I don't watch us block and tackle. That's my thing. The game is always going to be blocking and tackling. Whoever controls. Mario Cristobal did 2 things at the University of Miami that's never been done.
Tell me about it.
He lost a football game with the lead in under a minute on the clock, and he lost to Rutgers. And he only been there 2 years. Holy smokes. What's in store for us? And he did it at Oregon, too.
Yeah.
You know the very definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. How? Why? The coaching staff is on the sideline. No one yell, "We're out of here. It's under a minute. We don't have to do anything. Let's get in the greatest play." You know Herman Edwards was my coach.
Getting the victory.
No, Herman Edwards was my coach.
Yeah.
No one has lost a game like that but Mario Cristobal since 1979 when Herman returned the ball. Twice! Explain that to me. That's all I want. And then we can talk about Mario Cristobal.
Tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad.
That's it. just two instances. That's all.
So tell us what you're promoting, brother.
Oh, 3 Edge. Edge 3.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Kenyon Rashid, Brian Jones over at CBS, the Glove, Gary Payton, and us to come together to see if we can get this data thing come down to where I can hand it to a parent. He can understand what he's reading, make a comprehensive decision with his kid about the next 4 years. Because I think you'll agree with me. When you go off to college, them 4 years is wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
most memorable moments of your life.
That's what I'm trying to get. We trying to get. And if you teach that dumb computer, it'll spit you out some good information. So we're going to give them actual athletes that's done this, been there, and put it in there and then pull it out for the parents, and here you go. And you can get a plan for your young man.
Now they can do that from their phone. They can do it on the computer.
Hey, all that. We touch it every which way. Come on, baby.
Okay.
Because everybody attacks it differently. So you got to give them all the avenues to come get this information, because the information we get is vital to your young man's future. So we want you to get some information, be able to understand what we're giving you, and then make an informed decision.
I'm very aware of the fact that you're a forgiving guy, because here you are on OutKick, and you destroyed some OutKick reporter here a couple of years
I wanted to know
ago.
y'all policy on one source reporting.
Go.
Well, they always say multiple sources.
But this guy only had one source and then wrote all kind of madness. I got him on recording, with our whole conversation.
You called him.
I wanted to, that's what you do.
Or he called you.
No. I reached out because if you're going to write something that belligerent about somebody like me, which I'm a public figure, I don't mind. Jesus Christ, the only perfect man to walk the earth. Walk on water, turn water to wine, fed 500 with, 2 fish and a loaf of bread? And they hung him on a cross. I'm good. Ain't nothing about me perfect. You know what I'm saying? Until we all without sinning, let's stop this pulpitting. That's all I ask. Just stop it. Because what your reporter reported was just some dude ranting and raving. And I say, that's how y'all do one source reporting? I'm real easy to find. And as you see, I will have a conversation with you. Well, what's the story? I said, I gave you the story. The young lady behind me wanted to tell me she was a police officer. I recorded it. How much more you need? I'm a lover, not a fighter. I trust me. These hands were made for Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays.
Oh, wow.
Between the lines.
Oh, wow.
You gotta grab me still, man.
Because I love quarterbacks. the ladies come to see y'all. That's why I was around y'all. Everybody come for the quarterback. What do we call the NFL? A quarterback-driven league, correct?
Absolutely.
What we do with the running backs? Switch them in and out. You get first, second down. You get third because you're not real good at reading the blitz and you're not real good at catching.
That's awesome.
Let's dive into it before we go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Come on.
You're now on staff at Colorado.
I'm going in March.
Yes.
I'm going in March, yeah.
What's your goal? What's your mindset to try to change this thing and help Deion out?
Oh, it's not changing. It's pouring concrete because the one thing you can do with young men is create a foundation in which they can build a mansion on. And what I'm going to do is we're going to pour concrete with SAA, stance, alignment, assignment. That's your first thing. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to have our responsibility, we're going to have our stance, we're going to have our alignment, we're going to have our assignment, and then we're going to turn it to the Tasmanian devil.
He got to get some size up front.
Oh, no, we good.
Okay.
We good.
Transfer portal.
We good.
Y'all everywhere.
We good. Hey, man, I just want to know what you're going to do if Deion and Sapp sitting in front of you and you got your child. Would you give me your child?
I don't know. I know y'all too well. First of all, my son ain't playing. First of all, my son ain't playing D tackle.
Your past don't equal your future, but it gives me some indication what it
get
just
there.
might be. So 100 plus sacks and that's what we're working on.
But he ain't a D tackle though.
What he play?
Receiver.
Oh, so you don't want him out there with Shador?
Shador be gone. My son a freshman.
Oh, well, relax then, baby. I'll be there. He might grow. Look at these thighs.
Hey.
You and Sean King are the biggest quarterbacks I've
Why
seen.
you put me in Sean category now? I work out.
Oh, no, he does too, but it's the working of the fork.
Yeah. That's my guy. He live out here. I'm going to see Sean this week.
Oh, yeah, definitely going to see Sean. Tonight he's got to stay. Yeah, we got to pass through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got to smoke a cigar with him.
We got some time with him.
Yes.
Hey, we want to thank Warren Sapp for joining us on the show. You know he's always going to give you everything up front. But, yes, keep your eye on Warren Sapp. He'll be coaching at the University of Colorado, changing things around, helping Deion Sanders out. And this is the year for the Buffs, so make sure you keep it
and
out.
they let 12 teams in the playoffs.
You just heard it here first. Join us back here at the 5 spot. We got much more for the show. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. I'm your host, Donovan McNabb. You're here joined at the 5 spot. We are joined here with Hall of Fame quarterback, friend of mine, beat me a couple times, but we won't really go into that. Kurt
we can
Warner.
go into that. We can go. I mean, it is Super Bowl week.
You're gonna start me
probably should go into
I'm
that.
going to cry. Joined with Kurt Warner, Hall of Fame quarterback here. Kurt, just tell us right now, in the lay of the land, just right now watching the NFL, watching these young quarterbacks, does it excite you or you still want to see more?
I mean, it excites me. I think what I love is when you can see guys play the position different ways. Mm-hmm. You can see guys have success different ways. I think that's good for our game. It's good for the kids that are growing up and say, hey, I can be like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or I can be like Brock Purdy or Joe Burrow and I can still go to the Super Bowl and I can still be successful. You know, when we were playing, it was much more, hey, you got to be a pocket passer. You got to be built this way. The more we can see different ways to win and different guys having that opportunity, I think it's great for our game. I love watching it because, you know, I couldn't do what some of these guys could do, but I can surely appreciate what they could do.
Yes.
And then there's other guys like Brock and Joe, I could do that. And I appreciate that just as much going, man, people don't realize how hard that is. Like, you know, I couldn't make up for, you know, not making the perfect throw by running around and making a play. I had to make that throw. And so I appreciate both sides. I love that we have, you know, all the different dynamic players that we have in the league. And it's fun. Every game, you're like, okay, what are they going to do and how are they going to win? And I still believe like I did back then. You still got to win in the pocket. You
Yes.
still got to be able to do it no matter what your skill set is. You still have to have that piece, which I appreciate because that to me is what quarterback is all about. But I love that we have a lot of different quarterbacks right now.
Now, I know that it hasn't been out there. No one has said it, so I'm going to say it here on the on the world's best podcast, and that being the 5 spot. Does Brock Purdy remind you a little bit of the talent that you had when you were in St. Louis, when you took it to Arizona with the anticipation type of throws?
No doubt. I don't think he gets enough credit because he does have talent around him. I had talent around me, but we played differently.
Right.
We attacked down the field. And not that they don't throw it down the field, but, this game, and not just the 49ers, this game is, can you imagine what our completion percentage would be if we got to throw 50% of our passes within 5 yards of line of scrimmage?
64 to 68%.
Right. I used to lead the league, and now there's 20 guys in the league that have a higher. It's crazy. So it's not just Brock Purdy.
Right.
But at that time, that's what we did, and so I think maybe I got more credit, or they didn't have that narrative that it was just the players around me because we were doing some different things. But but what good team doesn't have players? Now it might not be all skill players.
There you go.
What I'm saying is when you were making your runs to the NFC Championship, it wasn't just about you.
Right.
You had a great defense. You had a good run game.
Right.
You had some good pieces, even though you weren't great on the outside. But that's, I think, the other problem is that when you have good skill players, it's about the skill
It's
players.
taken away from the
When
quarterback.
you've got good other pieces, well, then it's got to be more about the quarterback. And I understand why,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's a negative because where I might have had good skill players, we might not have had as good of a defense at the time. So I had to carry the team that way. And so it reminds me of that. And I think every great team has great players. It's just how they're built. Patrick Mahomes, what if this was his team through his entire career? And he had this kind of season every year, and he was carried by his defense. What would we be saying about him right now?
True.
What would be,
True.
we've seen the other stuff.
Yes.
But if this is what he had, we'd be going, hey, they're in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes got him here. He did these things really well, even though they were carried by their defense. So I just think there's great players on every great team. It's just a matter of how they're built. And in this situation, those players are getting more credit than Brock is probably getting for how well he's playing.
Right.
I think people are equating you to Purdy because of he was Mr. Irrelevant and you came from the Barnstormers and stuff. People forget your first year as a starter, 41 touchdown passes. Patrick Mahomes' first year as a starter, 50. So you shot like a meteor, just like he did.
Right. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Well, he can relate to Mahomes as well as Purdy.
Right. But I think that's one reason why maybe I didn't take some of the same flack that Brock took, because the first year I did something that nobody besides Dan Marino. So it was out there. It was like, oh, gosh, he must be good because he did something nobody else has done. And then the second thing, we were talking about the nature of the quarterbacks. When I came into the league, everybody looked like me. Mm-hmm. Everybody did what I did. And so it wasn't like, oh, we got Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and then we got Brock Purdy, who looks differently in how he plays, less skilled, less arm strength. And so he's kind of the minority now, whereas when I got into the league, I looked like everybody else. So, I did what everybody else was doing or what the best quarterbacks were doing. So I wasn't knocked down because I didn't have a certain skill set, which I feel Brock is kind of knocked down a little bit because of that.
Ted, tell us about Bingo Blitz.
All right, let's talk about it. Did you guys play bingo growing up?
Yeah.
No, a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to go every Wednesday to the church with Mom, and we didn't have a lot of money. But she would buy my cards, and then everything I won I got to take home. That became my spending money. So y'all wanted to have that bingo moment, right? Hold your card up. Bingo, give me that $25. But we're kind of combining Las Vegas, my childhood, the Super Bowl, because I believe the Super Bowl is kind of about those bingo moments, right? Mm-hmm. Who's going to have that bingo moment? I had mine in Super Bowl 34. Sorry, it just keeps coming back to you. Just keeps coming. But here's a better one. Okay, how about Super Bowl 43? I beat you, but then I helped other people have their bingo moment in Super Bowl 43.
Thanks.
But we want to celebrate the bingo moments. Who's going to be celebrated in this game? But go download the Bingo Blitz app, free app. Sign up for a free account. And if one of these defenses, so again, I'm not in the Super Bowl, so I'll promote this. If one of these defenses has a Super Bowl record, 8 sacks in this game, then one of our account holders for Bingo Blitz will win $1 million. So we're kind of tying in Super Bowl theme, a little bingo, a little Vegas, and hopefully somebody goes home with $1 million.
Well, we want to thank Kurt for coming on the show and just making me cry internally. I'm going to
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm not
have
really
a moment
sorry.
To myself.
Great battles, great quarterback, and
I'll tell you.
Unfortunately, it was at his expense that I got to go to a couple of those big games.
Thanks again for joining us on the show, Kurt.
Good to see you, man.
We love having you, brother.
Good to see you.
Hey, have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
All right. And welcome back to the 5 Spot. We are joined with some superstar guests. Kyle Turley is here. Yes, we love to take care of our offensive linemen. And I will turn it around to hand it on back to Rickey Williams and let him tote it, because I know that's big yards that we're going to continue to move the ball, move the chains. Guys, when you look at where we are right now in the landscape of the NFL, numbers have changed because they're calling it differently. They're not running the ball as more. They're throwing the ball a lot more. Just where do you see it being? I guess they would look at us as dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But where do you see the game going from this point on compared to what we're used to?
Man, that I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm always one that was the love of the game, the purity. I love playing football. That me, and I was downfield. You can't even do what I used to do to make me. Oh. I don't know what I would do in the NFL today.
Friendly fire on the pile.
Yeah, I'll be nobody. You know what I mean? They took it away, I think, in so many ways to try and address these injuries, but that's not happening, and we know that. So there's another agenda. It's like 7-on-7. I think they've seen the success of that, and the leagues and the writing on the wall. You got California that is taking away youth football.
Right.
You got all these things. So how do we regenerate that? And so I think that's what's going to turn back to. You're going to have all these youth football leagues, and they're not going to be able to play football. They're going to be playing 7-on-7.
Yeah, it's similar. I think football, the way we knew it, and I think that's why we're dinosaurs, is extinct.
Right.
And I don't think it's coming back. But I will say on the positive side, at least it's clear, because it wasn't clear to me. It took me a while that it's entertainment. It's
True.
Clear that it's entertainment.
That's true.
And so I think as it moves forward, it's just going to continue to be more entertaining, and I think that's going to mean less physical.
So let's look at these two teams. Obviously, with the running backs with Pachenko and also with CMC, with Trent Williams, and the offensive line of Kansas City. Really, there's no star anymore. Fisher's now, he's gone, but there's no guy that you can kind of put up there as an offensive lineman. What do you see being the X factor in this particular game? Is it going to be more of establishing that run game, or will it come back down to the turnovers and mistakes?
I mean, yeah, it's got to definitely come down. It's football at the end of the day, especially
Right.
when the Super Bowl's happening. I think both of these teams know that, and so they're going to have to establish a running game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to have to see what Bosa's going to do, you know what I mean, at the same time. So I see, them doing a lot of play-action stuff coming up as far as the Chiefs are concerned. We'll see what the Niners do, but they've got a great team overall, Kansas City does, I think, to do whatever they need to do and what they want to do. And they still play football like it was the old days. Andy's there. They don't have Trey Thomas. They don't have John Runyon. They don't have John Wellborn. They don't have these guys freely. They don't have all those guys.
The nastiness up front.
Yeah, but what team does? You know what I mean? That's
True.
not allowed. Like we said, it's not allowed anymore. You know what I mean? You can't establish a dominant O-line anymore, really. So it's going to be, I think, football as it was. You're going to establish that running game because they're definitely going to run the ball.
I want to hear what you guys are doing with Revenant and how that is. Obviously, it's a different day than it was back in 2000, the 90s, in society, in the NFL. But tell me about your company now, and also then what would have happened if it had been existent around the NFL back in the playing days.
Well, he'd have all the records for running back in the NFL. Yeah. Period. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll ask you because you were in Miami and you were covering the Dolphins when I got in all that trouble. And, now we're here on Radio Row and we're having an interview about promoting our cannabis company. And so all of us have had to adapt and change. And, what I said before, it was a rough game. And I think now they're starting to realize it. NFL hasn't removed cannabis from the banned substance list, but they've definitely turned down the punishment. And I think they're getting closer to it. I think in the future, hopefully the NFL becomes big fans and gets the word out because it's a more effective way to take care of the players than the Ambien and the Vicodin.
Right. And so, and of course, that was fine. back then because it was never spoken about.
Right.
But you were probably drug tested more than anybody.
The random drug test.
so-called-
No, I had the in the program. I had in the program test. So it's in the program. It's 9 times a month.
Dang.
And I was in the program from 2002 to 2011 when I retired. So that's a lot of tests. That's a whole lot of
That's
tests.
a whole lot of
And
tests.
it's anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like
They'll track me down around the country.
Yeah,
Anywhere I
they
go.
will find you.
Yeah, you got to tell them where you're going. I mean, I'm glad those days are over and no player will ever have to experience that again. But hopefully in the future, right, they feel that the leagues and the teams have their back because they're not just thinking about what can you do for me while you can still play football, but they're thinking about the long-term effect of the way they treat us.
Could you, Kyle, have played longer if you had been able to, at your own behest, treat yourself with, cannabis?
Oh, yeah. I say it loudly. I think I could have got 10 more years out of my career. I think I could have avoided 3 surgeries. This plant is real in its ability to address inflammation and pain. These players don't need these things that are being given to them, like Rickey said still. You got a quarterback for the Chargers that got a punctured lung from a shot. He probably could have just taken a topical lotion and masked the pain because that's all those shots do is mask these injuries to get back out there. We're ballers. We're going to go play through pain, for sure. But when the doctor says, no, let me fix it for you, and they jam these needles into you and give you these pills, these things had bad outcomes. And I know that my outcomes from back surgeries and knee surgeries and all that, if I wouldn't have had the residual effects from what I personally experienced of getting off pharmaceuticals, just that alone, when you get off pharmaceuticals and realize you didn't need one of those, it's mind-blowing, okay? And then the addressing of inflammation and pain when it comes to cannabis, I mean, I had neuropathy up to my knees. I was wanting to cut my legs off. It was so painful. And in 2.5 months, using these high concentrated oils that people are trying to suppress the amount of THC, you go on a regimented process of taking those, and in 2.5 months, I cured neuropathy, can run barefoot, and do everything I ever wanted or could do before. And I'm 310 pounds right now. I'm in the gym constantly. I train as hard, if not as hard or harder than I used to do. And I could go out and probably take 70% of the NFL jobs right now at 48 years old. And that's for real. And these guys know that I could probably do that because I said I could do it, and I know it. And if I would have had that when I played, there's no doubt. I mean, the ability that we have as athletes, it's only 1,800 people in the world get to do this job, and that's because we're superior. And if you start supporting the number one regulatory system in the human body, which is the endogenous cannabinoid system, as it turns out, and then applying this in neuroprotection because the government owns a neuroprotective patent on cannabinoids and nothing else. What could we do as athletes at the end of our careers where we're sitting in those locker rooms and I'm in Kansas City and I'm going, it's over. And my mind's, CTE's growing, just continuing to make me, the pills are making me, I'm getting into it with coaches. I can't control myself. I'm throwing helmets, all these other things, right? I would have been like I am now and see the picture clearly, you know, and I don't know what their agenda is, but I've been in rooms with them and had conversations, and these things are changing, but we need them to stop testing. All the sports leagues have stopped testing, and we're supporting, political platforms right now to get all these cannabis laws passed. Safe Banking Act, dropping the scheduling to a Schedule III drug is going to allow this to be tested on humans, and then Rick and I don't have to sit here and talk about this.
Rick, I can't imagine how many times you took the field and you probably were either anxious or unhappy with the situation where you could not do for yourself and treat yourself.
I still did. That's why I got in trouble. But I still did it. That's why I got in trouble. But, you mentioned to me maybe play longer, but I kind of think that's part of the issue. I mean, when I played, my goal was to have an indefinite football career, meaning I wanted to be able to choose when I walk away from the game. And the other thing, I think if it would have been legal, it would have helped my earning power now. But it took a huge reputation hit. But sitting here having these kinds of conversations, I really do feel like it was worth it because I'm not only talking about football now. I'm talking about something that can affect and does affect a whole lot of people, and I'm able to use the platform that my football ability gave me to actually do something with it.
Well, we want to definitely thank these guys for joining us. Make sure you look into it. It's called Revenant.
And Heisman.
Hey, when you talk about one of the greatest running backs to ever play in college football and in the NFL, obviously Rickey Williams, and then one of the best offensive linemen to play in Kyle Turley. I can play with Kyle Turley. Just don't throw the helmet and hit me. But he did it for the offensive player.
That's
what it's all about. But join us again back here at the 5 spot for more.